Hello everyone, I know this video is a tiny bit later than I usually mean it to be. I usually try to post my wrap-ups at the very end of the month, kind of in like the week that the month is ending, but I got very busy and very stressed in June, so I just kind of pushed it back until like the second week of July. So I'm hoping you don't mind that, but I read some interesting books this month that I want to talk about, so I hope you like this video. So the first book that I read this month was Stephen King's It. I did not enjoy this book in the slightest. I had a lot of trouble reading it, specifically because of the length and also because of the content. This book was extremely triggering for me and had a lot of issues that I didn't like. I didn't like the characterization. I had a lot of issues with how the book flowed and the back and forth between the timelines, and I didn't find that it was as scary as it could have been. So I really didn't like this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I still appreciate King's writing, but I just couldn't get into this book. I listened to it on audiobook and I also read it. I rented it from the library so I could read along with the audiobook, and I hated it. I did not enjoy it. So yeah, 2 out of 5 stars for that. And it is the one warm day in Canada this week, so I am dying. The next book I read this month was The Bridge Kingdom, which is part of a Bridge Kingdom series. There's cats fighting outside. I gave this book a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed some of it. I enjoyed the romance quite a bit, but the audiobook that I listened to read it, I hated. It was really bad. The voice acting was terrible, and everything sounded really annoying. So I hated the audiobook, which kind of ruined the experience with the actual book for me. So I might read the book again without the audiobook because I might like it better, because I am a sucker for cheesy fantasy romance and the like assassin, cool thing, strong women, like I love all that stuff. So I was just really disappointed at the fact that I didn't like it, but I think it might have been because of the really shitty audiobook. So I'm hoping to reread it soon. The next book that I read in June was the first volume of the Saga comic series. I know this isn't technically a novel, but I still count it as something that I read this month. I actually really enjoyed the first one. I was very confused the entire time, and I was kind of like, wow, this is weird. But I had a really good time with it. I didn't end up finishing the second book because I just couldn't get into it, or the second volume. But I did really enjoy it, and I'm gonna start reading more graphic novels, just where I have a very, very poor attention span at the moment. So I want to read things that I can read. So yeah. I also gave Saga Volume 1 a 4 out of 5 stars because I did really enjoy it, even though it was so weird. The next book I read this month, or in the month of June, was the If It Bleeds short story collection by Stephen King. I'm trying to get more into Stephen King now because I find I really do enjoy his work, and I kind of want to compare movie and book adaptations, where I'm taking some film studies this year. I am conflicted about this one. I think I ended up giving it a 3 or a 4 out of 5. I loved the stories in it, but I did not find them scary at all, which really sucked, but I was so like drawn into the characters that I didn't really care that I didn't find it scary. So take that as you will. I was more interested in the characterization than I was the threats. There was one story in it that was very triggering for me, just as someone with issues talking about simulations and about reality, as someone who dissociates a lot. And I think that was the second one. I can't really remember what it's called, but it does have some triggering reality-ish themes that if that's something that bothers you, maybe skip that one. I don't know if it will, because it was a very like specific trigger for me, but if you dissociate a lot and you're like, hey, maybe nothing's real, maybe skip that one, because it has some weird shit in it. So yeah. After that, I read Vicious in the Villains series by V.E. Schwab. I loved this book. I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. It was very interesting. I really liked the characters. I really liked the setting. I found it just really interesting. My only issues were was the lack of filler, which is surprising because usually I don't like filler that much. But I think the book suffered from not really having any filler to build character because I wasn't as attached to the characters as I could have been. But I still really enjoyed them and all their interactions with each other. They were very fun and like really interesting to watch. And I was kind of rooting for both sides after learning like both sides of the story. And I was like, wow, like this is really well done. So I highly recommend reading it if you like kind of the idea of superheroes gone bad, or like what happens when random people get powers, like that kind of cool thing. It reminds me of The Boys TV show on Amazon Prime, which is like one of my favorite TV shows. It's so good. And I can't wait for the next season to come out in September. So if those are the kinds of things you like, I highly recommend reading Vicious and the rest of the Villains series, which I'm also going to read probably in the next month or so. So yeah. And the last book I read in the month of June, you may have seen in my previous video, I read My Dark Vanessa, and I had to stop about a little over halfway through because fuck, this book is triggering and I don't know why people recommended it to me. So I hated this book. I hated everything about this book. I hated the main character. I hated all the other characters in it. Like, it was just nothing about it, like, not that it should be enjoyable, but nothing about it even stuck with me. Like, I was just kind of like, wow, I hate this. Because I've read depressing books and I've read books about very serious topics, but I'm usually like, wow, this feels so important. This book didn't give that to me. As someone who has survived not that sort of scenario, but like other scenarios like it, I was extremely not interested in Vanessa's side of the story. I was very like, wow, I hate this. Like, I hated how she was portrayed and how easily she was manipulated. I don't know, it didn't feel like it was done right. So I hated this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5, only giving it props for really interesting and pretty like writing style. But other than that, fucking hated it. So yeah. Why do I say so yeah so much? I'm sorry. So anyways, those are the books I read in June. I'm hoping that I read more in July. I actually read quite a bit this month. Last month. I am trying to read more short story collections where my attention span is shit right now. And I'm no longer working, so I'll have more time to read. So hopefully I can get some books read this summer, because I am moving in a month and 24 days now, and that is fucking terrifying. So I'm spooked, I am scared, I am stressed out, and I'm moving to another city in a month and 24 days. So I'm not gonna probably read much during August, September-ish, because that's kind of like when I'm gonna be in my new place. I'm definitely gonna vlog a lot of the moving experience, but other than that, kind of spooked. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you do like book content, I really suggest subscribing. I'm trying to come up with more interesting content. If you have suggestions for anything, that would be really great. I would love to hear what you guys want me to do, and I appreciate everyone who watches my videos, so thank you so much. I love you all. Bye.